And he said, I'm telling you, he said, I just killed the biggest deer in the whole club. He said, maybe the biggest one's ever been killed here. I don't know. He said, but it's a giant.
Let me ask, was that the last time Jeremy was allowed to come back as a
Yep.
guest?
Absolutely was. So I learned, like all of my friends, I mean, through teenager years, high school, 20s, they begged me to come hunting at my property. Like it was only $20 for guest fee. Jeremy that I hunt with killed a 173 there as a guest.
Whoa.
Yeah, I put him in a wooden ladder stand right down the road from my climber where I killed that big 10 point. I was hunting another big buck in there that year, had rubs on a tree that big around, in the same exact spot. And we was there the same exact week. And Jeremy shot that morning. He wanted to kill a doe. Asked if he could come with me for the weekend. And I said, yeah, there's a wooden ladder stand down here. And I should have known better. Those little pine thicket, they had just cut it about 4 years before, and it had grown up into this thicket. I said, you can't see nothing no more out of that ladder stand. All you can see is the road. I said, I'm going to go get my climber down here and shoot this. It was an SMZ. We just called it a ditch. Went in between these two cutovers. Well, about 8 o'clock in the morning, he shoots. And our rule was, at 11 o'clock, I'll come get you. And we had a watch. You know what I mean? I was like, at 11 o'clock, I'll come get you. If you shoot, just stay still, and I'll try to shoot me one. Well, at 11, I get over there, and he's like in a white T-shirt, pacing back and forth, smoking a cigarette, like losing his mind. I was like, what are you doing? He said, where have you been? I said, hunting. I said, did you kill one? He said, yeah, I killed one. He said, I just killed the biggest deer on the whole club. I said, no, you didn't. He said, did you see anything? I said, yeah, I saw a little 8 point and a couple of does. And he said, I'm telling you, he said, I just killed the biggest deer on the whole club. He said, maybe the biggest one's ever been killed here. I don't know. He said, but it's a giant. I said, what is it? He said, listen. He said, a doe come run across this road, and then a little buck come run across behind her. He said, then a big 7 point come run across. And at the time, we had gone to 4 to a side, is what our management program was then. And he was like, that thing run across there. He said, a few minutes later, she come back across the road, and here he come right behind her. He said, and I shot him right between the shoulder blades, right under my stand. I said, the 7 point? He said, no. Biggest deer has ever been killed on this property. I was like, what? And he said, come here. Well, we go over there, and this ladder stand ain't 12 foot tall. And this buck is laying dead 2 feet from the ladder.
Oh.
And it's 22 and a half inside. It's got probably 10-inch tines, but it's got 2 6-inch stickers off of both G2s, and the sticker's up against the ground. And this buck's like, it looks like it's 3 foot tall off the ground, like there's racks sticking up. It's 14 scoreable points. Scored 173 gross. And I like walk up on it, and we didn't have game cameras. You know what I mean? We didn't know anything existed except for rubs and what might be making them. You know, it's all this. That was the intriguing thing about deer hunting is the bigger the sign, the bigger the deer. And in your mind, it was this new world record. You know what I mean? And I woke up there and I'm like, this can't happen. Like, this is impossible. I don't know how this happened.
Let me ask, was that the last time Jeremy was allowed to come back as a
Yep.
guest?
Absolutely was. It was kind of one of those. It was horrible too, because one of the guys that was like one of the founding members, it was one of our great friends. He had been hunting that deer for 2 years, and was climbing. He had a lock on probably 20 yards from that ladder stand, and we were coming out of the woods, and he was on his way in there to hunt that spot while we were coming out, because it was past time. We signed out times that we were going to be back. You know. Well, anyway, he was coming in, and when he pulled, we were on a 4-wheeler only road, and had gone in there with the 4-wheeler and gotten that buck on the 4-wheeler with me and Jeremy both on it. And when we come out and met the main road, he was in his Toyota about to turn. And he pulled up, and when we pulled out with that buck on the back, he slammed on his brakes and slid to a stop. He got out of his truck and looked. And I got off the 4-wheeler and held the rack up, and he got back in his truck, turned around, drove back to camp, and packed up everything he had, went to the house. He never came back the rest of the deer season.
Man, it broke him.
It was bad because, I mean, like I said, back then, you know, you didn't know what was in there.
It was just like visual observation.
Yeah, and it was
saw
just
a big deer, kept hunting.
Yeah, it was just like, well, he'd found all this sign that we didn't know was in there. I mean, I had these big rubs I was hunting, but he was hunting over there in the right place. And it had these giant trees tore up, man, like it was eat up in there. And a while later, it was like, no, you know, we're not trying to be ugly or anything, but like, he got his deer. You know, he's not going to come back ever again. Like, he's done here. I was like, okay, that's fine. You know, because he used to come with me every year during bow season. We go kill 4 or 5 does every bow season. You know, that was our kind of thing. We went 4 or 5 days and camped out and shot does with our bows. And after that buck, that was pretty much it. But like I said, that was in '01 or '02, and we ended up losing the club just a few years later. But that's still the biggest buck he's ever shot.